A huge week for NHL 25 Hockey Ultimate Team is upon us, and here's how I think you should prepare for it. So the first thing I want to cover is the beginning of HUT Champions for NHL 25 HUT. Season 1 begins on the 16th of October, which is Wednesday, at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, or 11 a.m. Eastern Time. When it comes to preparing for HUT Champs, the only two things that matter are, one, make sure you're qualified. You do this by playing Rivals, that's all. And number two, I would just say make sure you have your team ready. This is the first competitive play that we finally have for NHL 25, so you want to go in with your best team possible. This is the team I'm going to be running the first week of HUT Champs. Made a few upgrades over the past week. Really excited to try that Kucherov out. I finally got him. And yeah, this is what I'm working with for week 1. So again, nothing too crazy when it comes to getting prepared for HUT Champs. All you want to do is make sure you're qualified through Rivals, and unfortunately it doesn't show on this screen anymore where you are in terms of getting enough points to qualify for Champs, but after each Rivals game you play, it does show you. And one more time, of course, make sure you have your team ready to go. Go with the team that you think is best, because people are going to have some pay-to-win teams in there, people are going to have some free-to-play teams in there. It's all about what you have, and you want to make sure you're prepared for that. Now, dropping this week is the Supernatural event. This is probably going to be like a Halloween event, and the goal of this event is it's for people who aren't going to be equipped to make fantasy cards. It's similar to last year when we got the prototype event, where you could at least make some cards in that event, some of the MSPs, if you were unable to afford any of the fantasy cards. I do like that they run co-events when it comes to, you know, these really expensive events that most free-to-play players really aren't ready for yet, as the game's only been out a few weeks. The rewards are pretty lackluster in this game, and people simply just can't afford fantasy cards yet. So I do expect this event to be fun. Within the event details, it says this seasonal event will run alongside the fantasy hockey event and will feature players with supernatural abilities. Ooh, spooky. So yeah, I guess this is like a Halloween event, which is great because Halloween events in the past have been really fun, honestly. And so I'm kind of expecting players to, I guess it's gonna be very, I don't want to say gimmicky, but based off, I don't know, players that like are maybe unorthodox in a way. I don't know if this completely fits what they're going for, because again, I mean, we don't really know what the event is fully, but maybe someone like 6'8" Tyler Myers gets a card. He's a very big player, but maybe this is kind of what they mean. Someone supernatural, that big, has, maybe they give him good stats, maybe they give him good skating stats, maybe elite edges or something. I don't know what they're going for, but it's probably going to be something pretty fun. So I am excited for this event to be the co-star next to fantasy. When it comes to preparing for this event, I don't think it requires anything too crazy. I think that they're going to give us a lot more help, again, through objectives to help us make these cards. I will say that whenever an event is approaching, just give yourself the best opportunity to make a card, because there's a good chance you're going to want at least one of these cards that come out over the next 2 weeks. With that said, I do expect probably a similar way to make these cards as what we got for cover athletes. So if anything, if you do plan on trying to make one of these cards, I'm really assuming we're going to need 79 pluses again. So I wouldn't fully go and buy all of them yet, because we don't know for sure, but there's a good chance it's going to take the same steps to make one of them. So I would just be aware of that. Again though, considering there's no weekly rewards, you can't really save up packs for this event, assuming they're all going to be over 80 pluses, these cards. So I would say just make sure you have some coins set aside, or even just some assets in your collection, because again, there's probably a good chance there's going to be a couple decent cards from this event. Now here we go, we have the big event, one of the biggest events of the year, probably the second biggest event, is fantasy hockey. So based off EA's description, it's an event that features player cards whose overall will grow based on a player's real life performance throughout the regular season. So for example, how it's worked in the past is, let's say there's a 74 overall Owen Tippett card for the Philadelphia Flyers. This is a card that I desperately want as well. Every time he scores a goal in real life, the card will be upgraded. If he scores one goal, it'll go up to a 75. Hell, if he scores 5 goals in a game, it'll go up to a 79. EA is usually good too with upgrading these cards pretty quickly, and they'll even do it outside of normal content hours. The catch for this event though is these cards are expensive. I don't know the exact cost from previous years, but I would say you're looking to spend at least 500 to 700k to make these cards, even with help from objectives getting collectibles to make them. So how do you prepare for this event? And that's the big question this year, because we don't fully know how it's going to work, because everything's different this year. The different overalls, the different rarities with bronzes and silvers kind of being back in the mix here. We don't fully know how to prepare for this. We don't know how expensive it's going to be. Hell, we don't even know if we're going to pull them. I will say one of the things I do suggest is save these packs that aren't great, like random 76, random, 77, 79, which isn't bad in terms of the market and everything in this game. But save these packs unless you have a reason to use them now. Just save them, because there's a good chance that, as they typically are, fantasy cards are usually in the 70s. So the hope is that you'd be able to pull them from these packs. I don't know for sure, but again, if you're not going to use these cards anyway right now, just save them till Friday. There's no risk at all. Worst case scenario, you just have to open them up with no chance at pulling a fantasy card Friday, and that's just how it is. The thing is, if EA removes the ability to pull these cards in general, or even from these packs, that would be a huge mistake and really disappointing. One of the main things that's important right now for you to do is, if you're sitting on coins, as you can see, I'm sitting on a lot of coins, I would save them. There's no point to spend during this week, because at the end of the week, or at least on Friday, we're getting 2 events, and one of them being the fantasy event. You're probably going to want to spend a lot of coins somewhere. These cards are investments. You're hoping that they go up, so you have to be willing to spend a lot for the hope that maybe someone explodes for 10 goals within the first, month of the season, and quickly they go from a 78 to an 88, which would be a huge card for this, at this point in the game. So again, really to wrap things up, for Hut Champs, just make sure you're qualified through Rivals. You'll see how far you are to getting the collectible, which I don't even think they're giving out yet, but you'll see how close you are when it comes to qualifying for Champs within Rivals games once they're finished. Make sure your team is set for how you would like it, because again, it kicks off Wednesday. For the Supernatural event, I would just say make sure you have some cards set aside, maybe even 79s. Have some coins set aside, because again, there's a good chance you're going to want one of these cards that come out, especially if one comes out for your favorite team. But until we see how you make the cards, it's hard to really say what you should save. And then the fantasy event, this is one of the biggest ones of the year. I would say you have to be willing to spend coins. This is where it makes total sense. It's investment time. You want a card that eventually turns into a 99 within, maybe 4 or 5 months. Save your coins, save your low overall packs, because if it's like it should be, they should be pullable from these packs. And guys, that'll just about do it for this video. I do appreciate anyone who watched this. I hope you guys have good luck in Champs, unless you match me. And I hope these events really deliver on Friday, because man, we really need it. If you're new, make sure you like the video, comment if you want to, subscribe to the channel, and that'll do it. Thank you.